Hello, this is Allie with Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today I want to bring to you part 1 in my series on how to start loving your body. Okay, so I know that I've talked a lot on this channel about loving your body and how to do that and all that stuff, but I really feel like I want to bring you like an actual series that each video contains one tool that I want you to put into practice before you watch the next video. And I want you to compile these things, and I truly believe that if you take the advice that I'm going to give you in these videos and you really apply it to your life, like you really take it and you just really use the tool that I'm giving you, that you will learn how to love your body, and your body will not have to change at all. Okay, so none of these tools require you to like change how you're eating or change how you're moving or whatever, unless that really feels good for you, and we'll get to that in another video. But so this is basically my manifesto here, that because I've learned this from personal experience, that it is not something that needs to change outside before you can love your body and appreciate it and like it just how it is right here, right now, okay? It is something that needs to change internally before you will be able to love your body, all right? And then once that internal shift happens, the external of your body is going to change. And I mean that even if it doesn't necessarily change like now, it's going to change in the future. Things are going to happen. You're going to age. You're going to get pregnant. You're going to, travel, blah, blah, blah. Things are going to happen. And I want for you to be at a place where you can love your body and feel comfortable in your own skin no matter what's going on. And I just really want to help give you the tools to get to the place where you understand that it's not about what you're eating, that it's not about what's going on, it's not about like your body is puffy today or you're swollen or whatever. That is the reason why you can't feel okay inside your skin. And the second thing is I want you to get to a place where even when you get puffy or you get bloated or you gain weight or things change, it's just not that big of a deal, because that is real body love, where you can love your body no matter where it's at, and it doesn't have to be this huge, big, emotional deal when things change inside your body, because that is painful. When you need to have your body be a very exact, specific way, otherwise you can't be comfortable or happy or, okay in your skin, that makes your life kind of crappy, and that makes life really stressful, and that makes life essentially emotionally painful a lot of the time, because our bodies are in flux a lot of the time, okay? So I really, I know what it feels like to truly believe that it is because of the way your body looks, or because of the way your body's reacting or responding right now, or because of what's going on in your body or feeling out of control in your body, that is truly the problem. And if you could just figure that out, you would feel better. But I just promise you that that's not really true. And I'm going to give you the tools to get there so that you really believe this in your mind, okay? So, in part 1, that's this part right now, I want to talk about body shaming, okay? And I think that there are a lot of videos out there of people body shaming other people body shaming themselves, and I feel like we are a culture where body shaming is actually like a normal thing. It's a common, something that we don't even think about. It doesn't even occur on our radar anymore as being something that's negative, okay? So for instance, I know all of my girlfriends, when they get together, there's inevitably going to come a point in the conversation where everyone starts talking about what they don't like about their body, where they start talking about, their thighs, or they talk about their hair, or they talk about their weight, they talk about their indigestion, they talk about all of their bodily issues. And coming as someone who used to be way on the other side of if you were going to hang out with me, essentially at some point in the conversation, my body was going to come up and we were going to talk about it, and we were going to talk about all the things that I didn't like about it and all the things that were wrong with it and all the reasons it was making me uncomfortable. And some of these things sometimes were physically aesthetic, sometimes these things were symptoms of other things going on, but there was always going to be some point in the conversation where we talked about how much I didn't like my body and what was wrong with it. And and like especially my sister and my partner Marcus can attest to this, that like it used to be something that really like overtook my life. Like it was something that was constantly on my mind. I was constantly thinking about my body, constantly taking stock of what was going on, constantly, you know, feeling every single shift that went on inside my body and being upset about it and talking about it all the time. Okay? So basically what I'm saying here is that yes, we have a culture where we stand around and we body shame each other, and obviously that's something that needs to stop. It's something that needs to not happen anymore. But the thing is that that is a symptom of the fact that we sit around and body shame ourselves on a constant basis, okay? And so like I said, how many times have you gotten together with your friends or your family or someone that you love or whatever, and you talked about the things about your body that you don't like, right? Or you've complained about your body, or you've made your body and the things that are negatively going on with it the topic of conversation? Or how many times have you gone throughout your day and thought negative thoughts about your body kind of like all day long, right? And it's like this underscoring theme of just like, I feel puffy, I feel bloated, I feel like I've gained weight, I don't know if I should eat that, should I do this exercise, da 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 da. And so like I say, we are this culture that sit around and body shame ourselves in our head all day long, and then we body shame ourselves in conversation, and then of course that's going to eke out and we start to body shame other people. And so now we have this, like I say, this culture where body shaming is just a normal part of life. And so what I'm about to say here is that basically my number one tool that I want to offer you in the journey towards loving your body is you make a manifesto, you make a resolution, you make a deal with yourself that you do not body shame yourself anymore, okay? So I'll tell you from my own personal experience. When I first started like actually healing from anorexia, so not weight healing, but like mentally actually starting to get better from anorexia, I made a deal with myself that I wasn't allowed to complain about my body out loud to anyone ever anymore. And the first reason that I made that kind of like deal with myself is I was just sick of being that person, okay? Like I just kind of like finally started to be able to like hear myself when I talk to people and hear how like monotonous and just like, man, like every conversation my sister has with me, I ask her if I look fat, I ask her if I look puffy, I ask her if I look bloated. Every single conversation I have with my partner, I'm like, oh, telling him how I feel like I gained weight, or I feel like I'm inflamed, or I feel like this is wrong, or that is wrong, or maybe I should change this, or maybe I should change that about my diet, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I sound like a broken record, and I don't want to be this person. Like I just, like my first kind of instinct was like, there's so much more to me than this. And maybe I don't know what that is right now. Maybe I don't know what is more to me than just talking about my body, but I know that there's something more. And this is not the person that I want to be. That I don't want to be this person that sits around and complains about my body. And I don't want to be the type of person that's how I relate to other people, is that we sit around and we collectively talk about the things that we don't like about our bodies. And so I made a rule for myself. No more talking negatively about my body. I made the thumper rule. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And so for the first little while, I'll tell you, this was incredibly difficult, okay? So when I finally made the thing that like no more saying bad things about my body, first thing that I realized was how many times, like just the volume of negative things I said about myself in a day. Right? Like just every single time I had to bite my tongue, I was like, holy smokes. Like I talk about my body, I default a lot onto talking negatively about my body. And that was kind of crazy. And then the second thing I realized is that it was incredibly emotionally triggering not to be able to say those things. Like for a while there, I would like sit like outside my sister's like office in our apartment and just like hope that she would say something about my body to like let the steam off. And so when I kind of like observed these things in myself, I was like realizing, I was like, okay, like this is like a huge outlet for me. To sit and complain about my body is a major outlet for me. And so first it's like a major outlet of kind of like the self-hate. Like that was basically what it was. It was like almost like my self-hate would boil to a bubble inside myself, that it would get so intense that I had to let it out somehow. And instead of saying, you know, like so this is basically gonna get on more in our other videos. Basically, I realized that like if I didn't have that outlet of complaining about my body, it's almost like the self-hate just like got more and more and more and more intense and really, really a lot louder, and all I wanted to do was complain about my body so I could let off some of that steam. Okay, so that's the first thing that I noticed. And so this is kind of the thing that I want to offer you, is that if you can make it a deal with yourself that you're not going to say anything negative about your body, even if you just say, okay, for the next 30 days, I'm not going to say anything negative about my body, you're going to have a lot of really profound realizations about yourself, that a lot of your stuff that is coming up isn't actually about your body, even though it feels like it's really about your body. And I'll tell you why. Because so basically what I realized when I no longer was allowed to say negative things about my body, and I made that my rule, and I couldn't break that, right? So at first it was just super, super uncomfortable, and it was like I didn't know how to release the steam of, or the pressure of the self-hate that was going on inside of me. And so, like I say, in the beginning I didn't realize that that's what it was. It just really felt like I needed to complain about my body, and it was like really intense not to say bad things about my body. And it was like, oh my god, I can't believe like that I want to do this so badly. I felt like an addict, right? And as I went along, and as I continued on just not saying negative things about my body, I started to realize that what I was doing was I was scapegoating all of my self-hate and my negative thoughts about myself and my negative feelings about myself that I had no other way of knowing how to express onto my body. So it was almost like saying something negative about my body was like a way, like I say, of like letting the steam off. But the thing was that it also created this cycle that set me up to stay in my self-hate and in my self-loathing, because the body wasn't actually the problem, right? So as long as I was complaining about my body, I was like giving myself this false sense of relief, but it was a false sense of relief, and it wasn't really what was going on, and therefore it felt better in the moment. It felt better to complain about my body. It felt better to feel like it was about my body in the moment, but it set me up to continue to stay in that really self-hating negative place because I wasn't actually addressing the issue. I was never able to get at the issue, the real issue, what I was actually upset about inside myself, because I was scapegoating everything onto my body. Okay? So this is why I want to give you that. And we'll talk more about like what this means and how to figure out what you're scapegoating and what your emotions are really happening inside of you in future videos, okay? But just to get you started, I just want to offer you the challenge that for the next 30 days you don't say anything negative about your body, and you just observe what comes up. And then I will say too that essentially this is an excellent tool for learning how to not body hate each other, how to not body shame each other. Because when you're not doing it to yourself, when you're not allowing yourself to say those negative things about yourself, you're going to notice how it feels to say those things about somebody else, and it's probably just not going to feel good. It's not going to feel like this just normal thing that we do, right? You're going to notice that when you say something negative about somebody else's body, you internalize that. Because here's the thing, there's a part of your brain, it's called the limbic system, that cannot tell the difference between something you're saying about somebody else and something you're saying about yourself. Okay, so whenever you say something negative about somebody else's body, a part of your brain literally internalizes that, and you feel like you said it about yourself. Okay, so not only when you complain about your own body do you feel terrible, and do you set up this cycle where you are continually going to be complaining about your body and feeling negative about your body and never actually getting at the real issue of what's going on with you, to the point where you truly believe that what is wrong with you is your body, and if your body could just be fixed, you would feel better. But then every single time you say something negative about somebody else, that cycle gets reinforced, okay? And it just sucks. It's terrible, and it's mean, but like, the real bottom line is, yeah, it's mean that you say these things about other people, and it's you know, it's not going to feel good for you to say mean things about other people. But at the end of the day, it doesn't feel good for you to say mean things about other people because your brain partially believes that you're saying those things about yourself. Okay? So if you can make it your mission that for the next 30 days you don't say anything negative about your own body, and you don't say anything negative about anyone else's body, and if you need to complain about yourself, you have to start to dig a little deeper to figure out what's really going on with you, because you don't have that outlet of complaining about your body anymore. You're going to realize that You're going to start to realize anyways that there are things going on inside of you that really have nothing to do with your body and that you're scapegoating it onto your body, okay? So it really does, yes, in this moment feel like it's about your body because you've set up a system where you could let off a little bit of your self-hate steam on your body and it feels like a relief, but the thing is that there's never any solution, there's never any feeling better. It's a cycle that you're just doing it over and 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 over again. So it's obviously not the real problem, because if that was the real problem, you could just lose 5 pounds and be fine. But I think we all know that that's never happened to any of us, right? We always end up back in these self-hate body cycles. We always find something new to be upset about, something new to be worried about, something new to be complaining about. Even if we lose the 5 pounds, now we have something else that's going on, right? And so it's not the problem, because if it were the problem, that you would have fixed it by now, right? So just stop complaining about your body, just give it 30 days and see what comes up for you, all right? So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. Like this channel, like the video, or subscribe to this channel. Find me on Instagram, I'm Ali_PerceptionTrainers. Find me on Facebook, Perception Trainers, and website perceptiontrainers.com. And yeah, and we will continue on with the body, how to love your body, part 2 in the next video. And until then, thanks.